living in the suburbs with a white picket fence, the 2.5 kids, and the dog. Traveling across the entire world, meeting new people and trying amazing food. Living at the beach and being an artist. Writing a book, becoming an author, becoming a business owner. Any one of these paths and many others are available to you. The right path for you is the one that you decide. But the wrong path is the one that you feel you should be doing. The one your parents told you to. The one society's insisting is the right way. Because the truth is, no one has ever lived this life more than once. They are all living it for the first time, and they know no better than you do, but what they do know and what you know is very different. You have lived a beautiful life that has had challenges and amazing things, and all of them have brought you to this moment. This moment where you get to decide what happens next, and what happens next is you deciding what success looks like for you. You will never know if you've had a beautiful life if you don't know what a beautiful life looks like. How can you go towards a goal if you don't know what that goal is? And when you do have a definition of success, it makes every decision in your life a lot easier, because now you are working towards something bigger than this current moment. You're working towards a life that you actually want. My name is Emma, and I've lived an intentional life over the past 10 years, trying to make every decision count as best as I could, and even I am still figuring it out. But one of the things I have figured out over these past 5 years is the idea of freedom can actually be categorized into 5 different freedoms. The importance of being selfish came out as a beginning of this idea. There are 5 freedoms, in my opinion, and everything you do in life can fall into one of these 5 categories. When you have these categories, you can then start to look at your life as different pieces of a puzzle that you are putting together to become the masterpiece of your life. The 5 freedoms that we all have is mental, physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual. There is a reason that they are in this order at this point, because every single one of those leads into the next and makes the others more possible. Throughout the past 10 years, I have really focused on the mental aspect, looking into stoicism and trying to get better at it. I've been following a vegan diet for the past 10 years, trying to be more intentional about where my food comes from and what it does and how I feel after it. I've tried to be better at being a person who can communicate and who can be aware of what they want and how to process those emotions through creativity and creating art. Now, what I have learned in the past year that I didn't realize was that I was putting the financial piece of everything I was doing at the very bottom tier in some senses. There was a situation that happened to me when I was very young in the sense that I was 22 and I had this friend from high school. And we went on this trip together and it was super fun. And she was telling me about this program group that she was joining that was all about finances and really trying to get them in order. And she talked about Roth IRAs and 401ks and all sorts of things. And I was like, cool, like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. So sure, yeah, I'll listen. And I joined this call and I very quickly realized it was an MLM scheme where this guy was trying to sell me an insurance for $1,000 a month, and I needed to convince other people to join in order to get more money and whatever. And I was so taken aback because I was like, it sounded legit what she was talking about. And then I texted her after she messaged me and she was like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, when do you want to join? And I was like, I really don't think this is for me. And we never talked again. At this point, I had known her for over 5 years. We talked all the time. We saw each other every time we came home from college. And I was scarred. Simply to put, I could not believe that suddenly I didn't have this person in my life anymore. And all this financial stuff was a scam. And then not very long ago, maybe a few weeks ago, I realized that I didn't want to look at any of those financial things because I was so scarred from this experience that I had with her, because she was talking about things that were legit, and I just had chalked it all up to it's all a scam. 401ks and Roth IRAs and high yield savings accounts, investing. I thought it was all a scam. I thought 401ks were people taking money, your job taking money from you just so you could have less money, and then you could only access it after you were 65 or retired. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait until retirement age to no longer have to work for someone, so this doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to participate in this at all. But over this past year, I have learned quite a few different things, that there are ways to access this money before you are the 65, 59 and a half age, and that the more you save and invest into certain funds, like the index funds, the safer investing really becomes. And so it took me 6 years to like open back up to it. In the meantime, I followed whatever path I knew how to. I paid off my student loans. I bought a condo that I still own, and that is where my financial life took me. But I didn't realize that this path even existed, because I was so turned off of it because of this one conversation I had with someone who I don't even speak to anymore. And that is the power that I'm talking about. The power that we hand off to people and strangers, or people who become strangers, and we are at a loss because of it. I spent years thinking that a 401k was a bad thing and investing the minimum 5%. And for multiple years, I didn't invest at all. So it's not to say that I'm now behind or that everything didn't happen the way it was supposed to, but I want you to know that you should not allow other people to have this kind of control over your life. And when you hold on to what people have said about your abilities or your skills or what you should do with your life or your finances, you are handing them a power that they do not deserve. That girl did not deserve to have any more power in my life and making me scared of the thing that I need to be in control of, because I'm handing my life energy for this money, and this money should be working for me. Which is why I am going to be posting every Wednesday until the end of the year a financial tip that I have learned with resources on my Instagram. We're going to call it Wealth Wednesday, and it's going to be a place where we can share and learn more about the stuff that we need to figure out. And I hope you can join in and share. And the first thing that we talked about this week was the emergency fund, and can your money actually save you? But we're gonna get into all of this later on, but I wanted to share with you this story that until literally a few weeks ago, I didn't realize was impacting me so much. And it wasn't until October of 25 that I even realized investing into index funds was like a good way to utilize my money. I had paid off my student loans, so the money was just accumulating in my bank account. I knew that wasn't the best place for it, but I had no idea what to do with it. And then my boyfriend introduced me, my partner introduced me into all of these different ways that you can deal with money, and I'm grateful that that happened. And I just don't want you to be in the same position of waiting for somebody to tell you about this. And now that I am talking about it and maybe you're interested in, please go and do the research for yourself, because it is so important to be financially literate at every stage of your life. And it's not anyone's fault if they didn't help you out, but take it into your own hands. Your life is your own. And I have since learned a great deal that I'm going to share. And though I wish I knew it sooner, I'm sharing it now because it could happen to any of us at any time, that one small thing, one small decision keeps us back for a very long time. And you don't have to keep handing your power away to people and to strangers and to the world around you and waiting for somebody to pick up the phone and say, hey, why don't you invest here instead of there, or whatever. It's your money, it's your life, and you should be in control of all of it. And the 5 freedoms are really this point of reference to be aware of what's going on in your life and where you're spending your time and your focus and your energy, because Whether you want to or not, every single category is going to be brought up in your life many times throughout your life. So having a little bit of intentionality in any of these categories throughout your life is going to shift your life into the life that you want much quicker. I will share more about the financial aspects later on, but this happened to me in all categories of my life. I felt like I owed all of these friends that I had so much of my time because I had always done it, and I was physically not going to the gym because I felt like I wasn't good enough to go. And when I was in college, I used to go with my roommate to the gym, and we were lifting weights or whatever, and then one day he freaked out and was like, I don't want to do this with you anymore. You need to figure it out. Like, you can't come with me anymore. And I never went back. That also scarred me because I was like, how did this all of a sudden turn into this? And I never lifted weights up until April of this year, April of 26, where I now go with my boyfriend. And it's crazy to see how one action of someone else can impact you for so long. And I didn't want to continue to hand my life over to different people. I mentioned in the previous video that I had different health issues and my stomach was hurting again, and it was because I kept giving all my power to all these people, and I no longer want to do that. And there is a great empowerment that happens when you start to look at these things. How are you taking care of your body, your skin, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your financial health? And the only person who's in charge of figuring it out is you. So if there's anything that you can do, why not do it? Because the time's going to pass. These decisions will be made on your behalf to some extent, or you could take the power of those decisions back. You can log into your 401k accounts and see where your money is being invested. You can go to the gym and take control and sign up for a class, or go to therapy, or start to eat more fruits and veggies. Whatever you need to do, you have to do it at the end of the day. And I realized that my diet needed to be a lot better. I needed to move more. I needed to express who I am to the world in a better way. And there was a lot of realizations that came in these past 6 months, which is part of why I wasn't very consistent with creating, because there was so much releasing, and it in its own way is a creative process. So you have freedom. It is yours to have, but it is something that we hand off to people in instances, and then we don't look back on it. I should have kept going to the gym and lifting weights. I should have looked into what does a 401k mean and why is it so important and all of these other things, but I didn't. I let other people influence me, and I try to lead an intentional life in so many categories, but there's a time and place for everything. I had to learn, and I am now here, and I can take control now and do better for me now. But where are you handing off your control to other people? Who is taking from you still? Who is still getting access to you even though they're not in your life anymore? I do not talk to either of those people because I figured out that they weren't great people to have in my life. But there's other instances that have influenced you. Why are you continuing to do the same things that you've always done if it's not working anymore? And these are not easy things to look at, but if you choose to, if you start to realize what's going on, you will have so much more power over yourself, and you will be happier with the small things in life, with the moving forward, with letting go of these people and these reactions and these actions, and really start to embrace the life that you want. I want to be a person that is happy and excited about life, and I can't do that if I'm holding on to resentments or situations that no longer serve me and never did. I should have not spoken to either of them after those reactions. One of them I didn't, the other one took some more time. But at the end of the day, we all are at this point, and what we choose to do from here is up to us. We can keep blaming them, or even unconsciously, subconsciously be still tied to what they said to us. But if you do the work and you unravel and you move on, it will be so much better. And the other thing is that you don't have to unravel and unearth every situation and know exactly why you make the decisions that you do to learn and to move forward. You don't need to know why you don't like money and why you've been so scared of it your whole life to learn about what a 401k means, or a Roth IRA, or Fidelity, or any of these things. You don't have to become an expert in your own trauma and your own past to be able to move forward. And every time you do learn and you do move into this new version of you by giving yourself more power, and knowledge really is power, you are building this new life one step at a time. And it doesn't need to be big steps. It needs to be small so that you can start to trust yourself again, to know, hey, you know what? I know how to lift these weights. I know how to move forward. Yes, I haven't done it in a while, but I can do it again. And whatever it is that you want to go back to, you can and you should. And that is really the second thing, is that learning is the most important thing that you can do in your life, because everything in your life is about changing and growing, and you're not intentionally changing if you're not intentionally learning. And there's so much to learn about this world and the things that you can do, and you do not have to become an expert in any one of these categories. You do not have to become a personal trainer in order to learn how to lift weight. You do not have to become a professional chef in order to cook meals that are better for you and healthy. You do not need to become a financial advisor in order to know how to deal with your own financial situation. You do not have to become a guru on the mountain in order to feel like you have a purpose and that you are fulfilling it every day. You do not have to become a therapist to be able to handle your own emotions and to communicate better. There is certain things that you can do right now to move the needle just a little bit closer to who you want to be. And if you can figure out in every category what it means for you, you'll be so much closer to who you want to be through this process of learning. You're not going to know what you want if you don't experience things and figure it out what you don't want in the meantime. So learning and having a plan to learn is so important. And that's why going through the 5 freedoms and really figuring out all these details that you want to know or need to know in order to move forward are so important. And at the end of last year, around October, I wrote out, like, I want to open a high yield savings account. I want to open a Fidelity account and all of these things. And I wrote out, and it was like, they were all minor in their own way, but combined, it was a big shift. And I started doing net worth statements, and I got to see everything start to increase because I was being more intentional about it. I am not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form, but there is so much information out there that could make you more capable of making decisions for yourself and more willing to show up for yourself. So do not underestimate the power of learning and all the resources that are available. There are 2 podcasts that I was introduced to by my boyfriend, Choose FI and The Money Guy, which I'll link down below, and you can go check out some of those episodes if you want. Of course, there is resources that I've come up with in every single category, and I will share those as time continues, so you're not overloaded with everything. But every day, if you can move closer, get further from who you want to be, from who you aren't, or who you don't want to be, and closer to who you want to be by making these decisions, you're going to be happier because you're going to stop handing your power to everyone around you. You deserve to be happy, and you are the only person who can decide to be happy. Choose the next decision with the intention to get better, to get closer to who you want to be. Learn what you need to learn and figure out what it is that you don't know that you want to know. This doesn't have to be a boring or difficult process, but it is one that will change your life. 6 months ago, I knew a lot less about finances than I do now, but I feel like within a few months I had learned the majority of what I felt like I needed to know, and now I've moved on. And then I picked up going to the gym and working out better and cooking more at home and coming up with fun recipes. And now I'm moving back into being creative and having more fun with that. There is ebbs and flows in life, and you're going to become more aware and less aware of things as you need to. You are going to build a beautiful life if you do it with intention. Things are going to change. You're going to get there, but you have to give yourself the freedom to do so. And that is the entire idea of these Freedom Fridays, is to share with each other what we've learned, what we're working on, because there's many people who are going to live this life based off what somebody else told them, based off what they believe they should be instead of what they want to be. And a lot of people end up with regrets at the end of their life, saying like, I wish I didn't care what other people thought. I wish I went after that job. I wish I had more things that I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, instead of I wish I did. And you get to choose which life you end up with. And at the end of the day, we hope to live to be 100 years old, but we don't know if that time is going to be what's given to us. So we have to live today with the intention to make today the best one we have, because it's the only one we do have. The past is gone, the future is not promised, but today the story continues to be written. There is no more college after you graduate. There's nobody else who's going to direct what your education looks like, but you get to take full control. So take your power back there and continue to learn. I will constantly be posting questions and resources down below, so always check it out, and just keep following your interests and moving forward, because your life is so worth it, and you're the only one who can truly embrace that. And so at the heart of it, you are your family, and that's really the thing. You're your family. No matter if it's just you or you have a huge family, it is you who you have to take care of at the heart of it. You can't take care of anyone else if you don't take care of yourself, right? On the airplane, if the masks come down, you have to put your own mask on first before you can help others. And before you can help others, before you can become a viable friend and partner, you have to put on your safety mask and live your life for you. There is no point in waiting, hoping someday things will shift or change. You have to be the driver of that. And once you make a decision of the life that you want, you are going to have that at the ready. This is your life. Stop handing the power to everyone else. And that was what I had to do and tell myself in October of last year. I had to get very real with myself and say, you have to figure it out. You cannot depend on your brother or any other man in your life to tell you what to do. Your boyfriend, your brother, your sister, your parents, your cousin. You cannot depend on somebody else coming in and telling you what to do, because most of the time they're going to tell you what they've done, and that may not be what is working for you or what you want to do. So do the research yourself. Look into it. There's so many amazing resources out there, and there's this super cool thing called AI, and I know it can also be daunting, because if you don't have the right questions, you really can't extract the information you need, which is why I want to do these videos, because I've done so much work and I've created so much information, and I want to share that with you, because I wish I knew it when I was younger, and I would have been very different now had I known it. But going forward, now that I do know it, I want my life to look very different and intentional, even more so. There was not a point in my life where I was suddenly unintentional because I didn't know what a high yield savings account was, or because I wasn't lifting weights. I was intentional in the ways that I needed to be back then. But now, looking at all 5 freedoms and really doing what I can to embrace all of them, it's really transforming everything quickly. And the transformation doesn't have to be you now own $1 million house and you have $1 million in the bank. The transformation comes from within. Because if you're not happy on a Tuesday morning reading your book before work or going for a walk, you're not going to be happy in the water in Fiji or in Mykonos or wherever, because wherever you are there. Wherever you go, there you are. There is no way around it. You have to be okay with letting the past go and embracing the future and creating it through what you do now. Your next choice is your best choice because it's the one that's going to take you closer to who you want to be. And if it doesn't, it's taught you what you don't want, and that's just as important. We don't usually learn what we want by knowing what we want. We learn it by seeing what we don't want. And there's plenty of actions that others take that you don't want, and that's important to know. Maybe you don't want to travel across the whole world all year, every day, but maybe you do want to have an art studio where you can go and share with the canvas everything that you're going through. There is a life that you want, and you have to reveal it to yourself. You have to let yourself get close to it. And so that's the goal of the Freedom Fridays, is to share a little bit more about any one of the freedoms and to get a little bit closer to the versions of ourselves that we want to be. If you're here, you are ready, you are excited, and it's not an easy journey, but it is the most important one that we can take because our lives are all that we have, and it is a beautiful thing to have. So enjoy life, go have fun, enjoy the weekend, but also know that you are worthy of it. This life and this beautiful thing that you want to create, you are worthy of it and you deserve it. And that was something that I had to tell myself all the time, and I still have to tell myself. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who can decide that. So go enjoy. We will be back on Monday for some more mindset work and really just figuring it all out. So I hope you have an amazing weekend. Bye.